All right, we're here as the Lost Rider Podcast.
Here we go.
Good morning and welcome to this weekend's edition of News from the Camp House, listening post of the Texas Sportsman Association. This is Herman Brune, and this weekend's edition is also brought to us by the Shaw's Bend Social Club, country club folks who don't have a country club. All right, tell you what, it's kind of lit up on us here just recently. We've done this, updated this not too long ago, but now we got to do it again, and we're talking about screwworms. So we've got Farm Bureau Director Greg Buenger with us today. And Greg, how you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing fine. How's things in Cardinal Country?
It's, hell, we're hanging in there. Things have greened up some. We've had some rain now. I don't think anybody will ever turn it down after it was so dry. I think everybody just let it keep raining and don't mind. I've been getting these nice little showers just the way everybody likes them. Just get a little shower and then that'll do for a while. Get another little shower and that'll do for a while. Instead of just getting it all flood at one time. So I think right now we're all right. I don't know how long it'll last. We'll see. But now let's talk about screwworms. Because in the last week or so, it's lit up. What are we up to? 6 or 8 cases?
I'm afraid we're easily that now, and there'll be more. It's here. We talked a month ago. It's inevitable. It's going to be here. Well, now it's here. So, the thing about all this, we expected it. I'm not surprised that we got the cases in South Texas. I'm a little surprised that the northern aspect of some of these cases up in the hill country there, that's a little peculiar to me. Remember last time we talked about the flies, this time the screwworm flies, because we have some different, we're in a different situation than we were back in the 60s and 70s because of the way we monitor things. Just natural movement of these flies is more slowly and methodical. Well, I think, honestly, I think what happened with the cases at the border was the flies flew and like they do, and the cases moved organically. Let's use that word. The cases up in the hill country, Herman, everything in me tells me that those cases were inadvertently hauled up there. I think there were some animals that had some real obscure cases with some larvae and some wounds, and they weren't noticed, and they got hauled northward. And I think they had a little help getting up there. But in any event, we've got them at the border, and we've got them in the hill country.
All right. Well, but the thing was, I don't think everybody thought it was inevitable, because we were talking about, a 50-mile buffer zone along the Rio Grande, and, it was, I don't think everybody realized it or thought it was inevitable. I know I had one of my buddies that's a tick rider that said it wasn't going to come across the Rio Grande, and now he's changed his tune also. He's going, we kind of knew this was going to happen. But I know he told me a couple months ago, he says, I don't think that's going to, it's going to get here. He said, I think they'll get it stopped. But are they putting flies out? I think, did we not say last time, these flies have to come from Panama because the other places where they sterilize these flies aren't up and running yet, right?
You're absolutely right. And the problem is the fly numbers. And as an aside, you mentioned your friend that didn't think the flies would really get here. Well, I will also say, and I'll say this a little tongue-in-cheek, but our legislature didn't think the flies were going to be here 2 years ago either, and so part of the reason we're just now building a fly facility in South Texas is because too many folks didn't take it seriously, and I was preaching over 2 years ago we need to build another fly plant, and it's been slow. But here nor there. Here's the situation on flies.
Yeah.
We're getting the flies from Panama, and they are being the pupae of those flies. One of our conversations before talked about the life cycle. The pupae of those flies are being flown to South Texas to our distribution facility near Edinburgh, and they're hatched out there and they're distributed from there. Right now, all the flies are being distributed in South Texas and North Mexico. And honestly, in Mexico, the cases are across 3 Mexican states now. They're at Tamaulipas, which is the closest one to the coast, then Nuevo Laredo, and then Coahuila. Those 3 states, and they correspond to 7 counties across our southern border. So those are where that's where the flies are being distributed right now, and 100 million flies a week are available. Of course, biology, it's only 50 million male flies, and those are the ones that we need. There is a fly facility I mentioned last time in Matapa, Mexico, that this summer should start producing another 100 million flies. We just need a lot more flies, Herman. We need probably 500 million if this thing gets crazy like it looks like it's going to. We're going to need a lot of flies to eradicate it, but we can certainly manage it in the process. So that's where we are right now.
All right. What do you know? What was the rate they were put out back in the 60s?
Yeah, back in the 60s, we had 4, maybe 5 facilities, and we were putting out right at 500 million flies a week back then. And of course, it was over a large area, but that was, I believe, the rate we had. We had several fly facilities, the Mission facility in Texas, and then there were some Florida facilities as well.
Okay. All right. And I watch what gets put up on the news. I watch what gets posted, and I see everybody comes together. I get a little bit aggravated because, everybody, Brooke Rollins and everybody comes together and they have meetings and boy, by God, this is what we're going to do and everything. And I don't think people right now want to hear about committee meetings. I think people right now are more interested in action, just pure action. I don't want to quit reading about all these meetings and groups getting together and talking about it. People want to see, immediate action, but I don't know how you address that.
I don't disagree, Herman, and honestly, I've been in some of those meetings with Brooke Rollins, and at some point that we've got all the information we need to have. The problem we have right now, the frustration that I have is we do get a lot of conversation. We get a lot. Well, the flies are here, the flies are there. Here's the products you can use to treat them. Here's that. The action is necessary, and the problem with bureaucracies in today's world is that things don't happen fast. And there's a fly facility that I was at it was about 6 weeks ago. I was at the groundbreaking down there in Edinburgh of that new fly facility. It won't be producing flies till late in the year next year, and that's that's. I don't know that. It makes my hair hurt,
Yeah. That's you look at that and you think, well, okay, that's not acceptable. We need to put somebody in there who knows how to push a job and double up on how many men we put in there, get that thing up and running.
True. And one of the refreshing things, and again, I don't know what can be done to expedite it realistically. What we're dealing with, Herman. You know as well as I do the things we're dealing with. But I was encouraged that our governor has put his shoe in the hole and said, hey, Texas is going to do everything we can to help you guys speed this thing up a little bit. I don't know what that means, but at least there's some things that are happening, but the thing about the screwworm facilities and so forth, we're going to have to accept what they are at some point, and the time frame. We do need to concentrate. We need to as individuals and as cow-calf producers and stockers and whatever you are, or if you're just an observer,
right?
We need to be awake. We need to really be diligent in monitoring this thing. We need to absolutely report cases that are there, so that we can, first of all, keep track. And as the flies are there, we know where to take the flies and so forth. There's a couple of things that have been mentioned by other folks, and when I talk to people, I've been saying these two. Here's two things about screwworms or several things about screwworms that we have to understand. The first thing is they're not a food threat. They're not a threat to our food supply.
Right.
You can't get screwworms eating beef. The second thing is they're not contagious. So we can't treat them like a contagious disease. They're a condition of infestation. The animals that are infested with these larvae, right, are not contagious to other animals. So we treat that animal, and that case is resolved. So it's a different animal as far as how we handle it in terms of quarantines and hold orders and shipping. We'll be able to move cattle even from infected zones, but they'll have to be moved with some obviously some permits, some inspection, those kinds of things.
All right, okay. I'll tell you what. Let's take a quick break and thank the folks who let us come on here every Saturday morning. We'll be right back.